Welcome to the show. Hope you are staying safe and well. Today we have another great lineup of guests, interviews, news, tech tips and industry insights coming up right after this.
Our workflow guests this week are Christian from Dreamchip Technologies, the makers of the Atom range of cameras. Liam from Newtek talks us through the brand new Tricaster 2 Elite.
Jamie from Ada looks at IP KVM versus Direct Connect, with David from Harmonic talking about their streaming platform VOS 360.
Now, you know all about RAW and gamma curves. Let's find out what Alister will be talking about today.
And today I'm going to look at how to choose the right tripod.
And let's go over to Dick to see who he's got with him today.
Thanks, John. Today I'm talking to Daniel Lundstedt from Intinor about the possibilities and prospects for 5G. But first, let's go to TV Futures.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Sell and I am a television and broadcasting graduate from University of Portsmouth. Before university, I did not have a lot of confidence. I struggled talking in front of large groups of people because I was scared that I was going to mess up or that people would laugh at me. And I feel like that hindered me growing up because I didn't reach out for opportunities like my friends would. In my first year of university, I was introduced to a lot of different people and I realised that I kind of had to get over my fear, especially because my course was very practical and I would work with large groups of people. I started to build up my confidence by joining the Radio Society at my uni. I did this because I really enjoyed a radio unit that I did in first year where we had to make a 10-minute factual radio show. I liked this because I could sit in a room and talk to myself and no one was watching me, no one was judging what I was saying, and I really liked that aspect of it. In the society, I produced and presented 2 radio shows with my friends where we would talk about music and gossip and anything that was going on in the world, but it was things we were passionate about and enjoyed talking about. From doing this for 2 years, I realised that it is inevitable that you're going to mess up and say something stupid, but as long as you're talking about something you're passionate about and that you're enjoying yourself, it doesn't really matter to anyone and people will just laugh, but not at you, but with you. This helped build my confidence up so much that in second year, I did something that I would never thought I would have done in a million years, and that was present a live TV show that was broadcasted on YouTube and the Guildhall big screen. In this TV show, I was a scientist teaching children physics, chemistry and biology, which were not my strong subjects at school, but I knew I would have this information given to me by the producers and script writers and that it would be delivered in a fun, easy way for children to learn. I didn't realise that when presenting there were a lot of things I had to think about, especially the auto cue, which is like a script that scrolls down and you read it whilst presenting. I'm quite a fast talker and I had to really learn how to slow down and make sure that I was articulate and that children who would be watching would be able to understand me. Overall, this was a really fun experience and I really was proud of myself because I pushed myself and did something that I never thought I would have done, and I can only really thank my course for that. Television and broadcasting really pushed me to learn new skills. I did presenting, camera operating, I found a passion for radio, which I will hopefully have a career in after this lockdown, and yeah, I would never have been able to do all that if it wasn't for the university and the course, my lecturers and my course mates. Thank you for listening to me and I hope you're all doing well and coping as well as you can in lockdown.
Thanks, Alex. It's really good to hear such a personal story and how university life is not just about the course, but also finding yourself and growing in confidence, as well as you say, pushing yourself into situations you would previously thought impossible. Very best of luck in your radio career, and we certainly do relate to those presenter skills you mentioned.
If you're a first-time viewer here, then where have you been? Unlike our regular viewers then, you might not know that Media Proxy is the global leader for all things compliance. With over 20 years in the business and over 15,000 channels deployed in over 60 countries, you really can trust them as your partner for logging, monitoring and analysis of linear, broadcast and OTT.
Another thing you might not know is that Log Player is the most advanced multi-panel HTML5 user interface supported across all desktop and mobile web browsers. It has a powerful toolset for quickly turning around clips to publish directly and easily to social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and many others.
And of course, if you're looking to replace your Volacom system, team up with the global leader in compliance. For more information, check out their website. Right, now with 5G in the news for maybe all the wrong reasons, it's time to go back to Dick to find out more about the technical side of 5G.
Today I'm talking with Daniel Lundstedt from Intinor. Now, Intinor is a company that, in this new era of streaming everywhere, we've all come to know and love. Daniel, just give us the two-sentence introduction to Intinor as a company.
Thanks, Dick, and nice to be here again. Happy to be a part of the KitPlus weekly instead of daily. But yeah, we've been working hard on getting our name out there, and it feels good to hear you say that. We've been talking a lot about interoperability, and during this pandemic, I think it's more relevant than ever for broadcasters to have the possibility to receive from different manufacturers and sources, and I think that's what Intinor is all about, and having interoperability over public internet.
Terrific. Well, today we want to talk about 5G, and to introduce the discussion, you've recently done some work with broadcasters and emergency authorities in Sweden. We've got a short video that explains what we've done.
Har du fått upp drönaren nu? Ja, nu har vi fått upp drönaren. Som sagt, angreppsvägen är fri. Inga direkta hot och risker, men jag
I en framtid med ett utbyggt
In the future, when 5G is fully operational, a drone will be able to fly to an accident site and send a video feed back to the ambulance. Like here, at a staged accident at the University Hospital in EMEA.
Här kan vi redan se på bilderna här att det här är en definitivt svårt skadad patient och vi kommer att behöva ett stort traumalarm av akuten.
Drone and reporter camera were connected to our direct link encoders, which use 5G modems. This staged accident was streamed live to the morning show at TV4, one of Sweden's largest TV channels. Feeds from the drone, from the ambulance, and from the reporter were all streamed over 5G. Using our own transport protocol, Bifrost, we were able to create the first ever 5G remote production in Sweden. The benefits of 5G in live streaming is known for many people in the broadcast industry, but this test shows that 5G could also become a future lifesaver and play an essential role in keeping rural communities alive.
That's really interesting, first of all because of the fantastic quality of the images, but also because you were sharing those images between broadcast services and the emergency crews in the exercise. So it's clear that 5G is very flexible. But let's go back to the basics. What is 5G? Can we try and get a grasp on what makes 5G new and different?
Yeah, and there's a lot to talk about and a lot more to learn about 5G. But I would focus on the possibility of having a higher throughput, being able to send more data, more video, higher resolution, so on. But also the super low latency that will be offered with the small cell network that 5G will offer.
So it's a different structure. It's a different sort of cellular network, is it?
Yeah, and with the small cell network that they usually talk about, will offer more connection points and having the possibility to have this higher throughput, higher bit rate to, for example, make the transition to 4K or send multiple cameras. We're always talking about remote production these days, and sending multiple cameras from the venue back to the MCR will be crucial or critical for broadcasters coming up.
Yeah, so I mean that really is remote production in that the camera source is going all the way from the camera to the broadcaster, wherever that is, over 5G.
Yeah, definitely, and then also adding on the lower latency that this can that 5G will offer, the remote production capabilities will be even better to create both quick communication, but also to give the equipment and the transport protocols and whatever, give that equipment better circumstances to create a robust and reliable transmission.
Yeah, so the low latency is obviously very exciting, and the capabilities for higher bandwidth. So where do you think it's going to be used? Who's going to be in there first?
Yeah, I think that well, we've already seen a lot of tests. We've seen some tests from the US in big arenas that have 5G, and I think that's where we'll see the quickest adoption, where you can build a very controlled environment. You can build a 5G network within the arena, have it outside, so you can follow the tailgating outside of the arena, and you can get a more interactive view of the sport event. So sports is the quick answer for this.
Daniel and I continue talking for some time. You can see the whole conversation by clicking on the link on the screen now. But now back to the studio.
And now the first workflow section, capture and produce. Sony has announced the HDC P31 POV system camera with remote functionality and 1080-50p HDR capability. Designed for mounting in hard-to-reach locations or used on a crane, rail or robotic system. It's lightweight and uses a 2/3-inch global shutter CMOS sensor and creates a comprehensive system working alongside Sony's switches and live production control automation system.
Marshall Electronics has released its CV420 18 times and CV355 10 times zoom block cameras. One with an impressive 12.4 million pixel 4K sensor and one with a 2.5 million pixel HD sensor, both in compact designs. Also, both cameras are designed with the latest sensor technology and meet the highest standards in broadcast and AV.
And George Foreman III's boxing fitness brand Everybody Fights is leveraging the A10 Mini Pro Live production switcher and Blackmagic's Pocket Cinema Camera 6K to deliver their boxing experience to the at-home fitness market. This was recently introduced during a series of live-streamed virtual events for charity created to help members stay active and connected with others in fitness communities while stuck at home.
And now we'd like to welcome Christian Kuhn from Dreamchip Technologies. Welcome to the show, Christian. Now, Dreamchip produced the Atom range of cameras. Can you tell us a little bit about the range?
Yes, of course. So thank you very much for having me on the show. And first of all, I would like to show our little camera. So this is actually our Atom 1 Mini. As you can see, it's very, very small HD camera. It can go till 60p, and we have built our own multi-matrix inside of this camera, so you can control this with a Sony RCP, SkyHoy or SignView. And all our cameras, it's very important, can do HDR. So if you want to run this little camera in HDR, you actually can do it. Then we have another one. It's the Atom 1, this one. And on the back of here, you see that's our motor drive we wanted. So you connect it on the back and you can control iris and focus. That's very important if you connect our cameras to an RCP, and then you have the chance to actually control the iris and the focus. And this camera is actually HD with a global shutter and very good in low light conditions. And then we have 3 different 4K versions. So this is the smallest 4K we have. It's the 4K Mini 7 and has a very small sensor, and that's the reason we can actually have a small lens on it, as you may see here. And this 4K camera has 2 12G outputs and a gen lock on the back, as all our cameras has, and RS485 and power connection. And we have the same 4K Mini 11, that's the same size than the 7. And this has a 2/3, and you can actually use your B4 lenses, because we have an adapter from C-mount to B4. And you can have huge broadcast lenses on our small little camera. And then we have the 4K Mini 16, which is used usually on feature film. So all the sizes on our 4K are actually the same. And this is having a 1-inch sensor, and it's a global shutter as well, very good in low light conditions. And as I said, you can match our cameras to the big broadcast cameras and to the film cameras. So this 4K 16 is actually used on many feature films in the US, and they could match this very Arri Alexa perfectly. And then we have some waterproof housings for our cameras. So this is actually built for minus 20 meter. So if you want to use our cameras in a waterproof housing, we have 2 different models. One for the small device, one housing, and one for the big 4K cameras. And then we just launched last year at IBC 2019 our Atom 1 SSM 500, which is a high-speed HD global shutter camera. And this camera is now finalizing at NAB. And we showed it there the first time finished, so you can hook up this on a C-mount and B4 lenses on it.
Can I ask you a quick question? Obviously, something you've mentioned on all your cameras is global shutter, and it's something that we're seeing less and less of, but there are some big advantages with global shutter. For those who don't know, explain some of the advantages of the fact that you're running global shutter on your cameras.
Yeah, so basically our little cameras, you know, you can hook up this to cars or to any cranes. We're working a lot with pole cam together. And the global shutter actually gives you the possibility to have a much sharper image, because you don't have that flaring with a rolling shutter. And the dynamic range with the global shutter, it's much better than related to a rolling shutter. And as I said, all our cameras can go from till 60p. You can run our cameras with a global shutter in 50p, and then you have a perfect sharp image. Even if you have it running this camera on a racing car, it will be having very nice colors and a sharp image because of that global shutter.
So Christian, what can we expect going forwards with the Atom range?
Yeah, so in the past it was always that we had only fixed focus lenses, because obvious reason the lenses on C-mount, they give you a lot of mistakes if you zoom back and forwards, and we can actually match our picture with the big broadcast cameras. And because of this, we were searching very, very long for a new zoom where we can put on our small cameras and have the same quality, the same image quality that our customers used to have with our cameras. And but they all were expecting a zoom for us. So we were searching very long, and now we found a zoom, and we're going to release this zoom. As you can see, it's a very small one. We're going to release this zoom at IBC in September, somewhere around that. And it's going to be very wide angle. It's going to be 3 times zoom, and you can control, as I said in the past, over an RCP, the iris, focus, and zoom.
If in the UK we want to get hold of one, have a look at something, who do we contact? Who's your distributor in the UK?
Yeah, we're working together with Broadcast Solution UK. They do an amazing job, and please go to www.atom-1.de if you're not based in the UK. We have resellers around the world, so please check our webpage. And if you're located in the UK, please go to Broadcast Solution. They do a fantastic job. Please contact JP, and you will get definitely a camera. And please try it out. I'm a big fan that you put our cameras to big broadcast cameras or small cameras that you may bought in the past, and then you see our image quality and can compare it to others. And actually match them to others if you want.
Yeah, try before you buy and match them up. Well, then, is there anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
So, except of cameras, we're doing actually another section. This is the Barracuda, where you can hook up 5 from our cameras and then stream it over Ethernet. And this little Barracuda actually fits in my hand. It's a very small device. You can put this in a car, for example, put 5 cameras of these ones, only have 1 power connection on the Barracuda, and this Barracuda is then powering all the 5 cameras, and you have the HDSDI output there, and then you have the same Barracuda in your office. So you can actually control with the RCPs in your office through the Barracuda the cameras which are sitting in your car. And this device is on our webpage as well. Please check that out. It's called the Barracuda. And we just got an award last year at NAB for it, for best product on the show. And yeah, please have a look.
Sounds absolutely fascinating. I'm interested in that one. Go and have a look myself. Well, thank you very much for coming along. Great to see you. And we look forward to finding out more about the range and seeing it progress. See you soon.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
And our second workflow section is manipulate and edit. And we start with Crystal Vision. They've introduced a unique way to do broadcast graphics. Rather than using video sources for the key and fill signals like traditional linear keyers, the M-WebKey web page keyer can key a web page onto an IP or SDI video stream. Apparently this will make you rethink your graphics workflows as compared to traditional linear keying.
And we've spoken to Grass Valley on a previous show about the latest updates to their award-winning editing solution, Edius, which is going to be released on the 15th of September this year. In 3 Edius 10 preview live stream events, the expert Edius teams from Grass Valley and Edius.net reveal the top features to look out for. The recorded live stream can be found on the link that's on screen now.
And this is something I've been waiting to hear. Let's welcome our next guest into the studio. So, welcome Liam Hayter from Newtek to the show. It's a pleasure to have you with us. We're going to get straight into this. You've got a new exciting product you want to talk about, so tell us about it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us this afternoon. It's a real pleasure to join you guys and talk about the very latest addition to our Tricaster product family, which is the brand new Tricaster 2 Elite. Of course, Newtek, we're well known now for working within computers, software and networks, especially with our advancements in NDI. And the Tricaster 2 Elite is our most powerful system yet that is designed to actually build on top of that. Just to give you guys a little bit of background to it, of course, at the moment, we've got a lot of people utilizing video calls that are out there in the space. And that's actually everything from, broadcast applications through to game shows. In fact, anybody creating video content right now in the current situation is relying more and more on these video conferencing or virtual meeting room applications. And I'll come back to this in a little bit, but there's one more aspect of the Tricaster 2 Elite that is specifically designed to address those. But just to give you some of the headline stuff about the product, the Tricaster 2 Elite is a 3RU form factor system. So like all of our Tricasters, it's a turnkey solution. Standard features like redundant power, inbuilt media storage and recording, and of course network connectivity for gigabit and 10 gig NICs, so you can connect to different networks for different applications. So that could be NDI using with IP audio, or even network storage for editing, for things like editing while record. what really sets the TriCaster Elite apart in terms of its actual overall processing power is we're aware that not everybody's ready to move completely into an IP environment now, and there's a lot of people already out there with legacy SDI devices and equipment that they want to utilize. And so TriCaster 2 Elite now gives you 8 3G SDI inputs, or those can be set up as dual quad link for 4K input. And combined with the NDI inputs that are available, we've now got 32 available inputs on a single TriCaster device, which is the greatest number we've had on a TriCaster yet. Within that, we're also giving you 8 fully rendered outputs now. So you can actually do 8 individual rendered outputs, 8 individual mixes in high definition. Those are all simultaneously available over NDI. Or we can actually operate this doing 2 4K outputs. So, for example, you can have your full program with all of your graphics and rendering, and also a clean output on the back there as well. But like with all of our systems, you can mix and match what those outputs are, whether you're working in HD or 4K, and we still give you all of those multi-viewers for simultaneous, in fact, including the GUI, like we do across the rest of the range. It goes a little bit further than that. Of course, we do include all the media players, the buffers. We've got those rendered outputs on there. But now also we've got the ability that we now actually have the inbuilt routing matrix, so you can actually route individual sources out from the product at the same time. And a big thing that we've now added is with the TriCaster Mini 4K that we launched recently, we enabled SRT ingest to enable remote production, and we are now enabling SRT output on the back of the product there as well. So you can really start utilizing all sorts of different sources, whether they're SDI, NDI, or even remotely connected sources as well now, along with SRT and RTMP and RTSP web streams as well, to give you the greatest range of different production uses that you can use within remote production workflows.
Cool. So you mentioned SRT there and remote production. Is that have you pretty much covered all of the angles of remote production that Newtek have helped their customers with, or have you got anything else that helps people?
Yeah, we've really definitely. We're kind of building on the work that we've done with our talk show product over the years, and a few of you will already be familiar with talk show, where we could bring Skype TX callers in using Skype for desktop, whether that's mobile or desktop applications, directly into your video call. As a few weeks ago, Microsoft have now, through our relationship with them, have now announced that we're also able to bring Microsoft Teams calls into Skype TX. So we're widening that net to enable Skype or Teams to communicate over those talk show products in the inbuilt talk show channels on our TriCaster range. But actually, we're going to go a step further with the TriCaster 2 Elite, in that as well as those aforementioned inputs, whether they're web streams or SRT or NDI, you'll see there's also a few other logos up here now as well. And the TriCaster 2 Elite, through something that we're pleased to announce, which is called Live Caller Connect, we can now connect Zoom, GoToMeeting, Discord, and Tencent clients directly in as inputs onto your TriCaster system. So with TriCaster 2 Elite, we're going to build on that again as well. And you've now, as we're already familiar with, got these sort of single pane Zoom calls, and we hear about people quite often being zoomed out now from seeing the same grid and layout of faces day in and day out on all of the calls. And it's becoming a very familiar sight in video production as well. You know, for a while now, we can screen capture what's on a laptop or desktop. But with Live Call Connect, we're actually going to be able to take that input and actually split that out. So if you've got 9 people on a single call, with the inbuilt processing on the TriCaster 2 Elite will allow you to separate that wall of faces out into 9 individual inputs, whichever the teleconferencing application, and then bring those in as specific individual inputs into the system. So if you combine that with our virtual set and our mix effect capability, you can do all sorts of very visually interesting content with just those same sort of standard teleconference calls from any of those platforms that I've mentioned. So that's Skype and Teams natively via Skype TX, Zoom, GoToMeeting, Discord and Tencent, all coming in, all separated. But not only that, we're going to give you mix minus back to those callers and also utilize the integrated talkback that the Skype TX technology has used in the past, but also now be able to address those with all of these other incoming callers from the other platforms. All of that is going to be inbuilt into the product. There's a dedicated desktop that you can switch to, so you can manage the calls without needing a separate computer or a separate interface. As I said, you have those 4 multi-viewers, and we can just drop those in. And we see this being utilized everywhere, from video production into AV use. In fact, anywhere that you'd be utilizing people creating live video content today.
Thank you very much for putting up those slides earlier. It does help explain all about it. And thank you, of course, for coming on KitPlus TV today.
Thank you very much, guys. And these will be, the TCT Elite will be available very shortly. So thanks a lot for your time, guys, and see you soon.
Blackmagic Design have announced the all-new ATEM 2ME Advanced Panel and the ATEM 4ME Advanced Panel, a new family of hardware control panels designed to work with all ATEM switches. Features include up to 4 MEs, up to 24 LCDs for custom button labels, 4 separate system control LCDs, 4 T-bar fader controls and much more.
And 3Media have joined the DPP, the media industry's business network. 3Media has a deep understanding of how the media sector is evolving, and joining the DPP will enable them to not only broaden their reach within the industry, but also offer their expertise to the ongoing evolution of the overall digital media market.
Yeah, we had Craig from 3Media on the show a few weeks ago, so you can find out all about 3Media there. And if you're not sure who the DPP are, then check out the link on screen now when Dick Hobbs was chatting to the MD on the show a few weeks ago as well. Now, GB Labs has announced that its proprietary Core 4 and Core 4 Lite operating systems have been upgraded with additional security benefits designed to augment existing performance, analytic, and real-time data monitoring and display features. The Core 4 UE has been improved with a range of auditing features, both historical and real-time.
Yeah, with so many people moving files around from all different locations, including the home, like us, and of course from different platforms. You know, it's important to make sure that your items are secure. It's something really you've got to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And now it's time to welcome our next guest into the studio, and we have Jamie Adkin from Adder Technology. Welcome to the studio again, Jamie. We spoke to you last month on our daily show about your KVM solutions. Can you just give us a few benefits of IP-based KVM versus Direct Connect?
Yeah, of course. So when we come to building KVM systems of any shape and size, we offer a range of different IP products. Ultimately, what IP gives us is a very flexible route of designing architectures for KVM. So whether you're building KVM on a LAN or a WAN, ultimately what you're going to get is extreme flexibility in how you can put that system together in shape and size, but also how you can design the network to facilitate flexibility. And that means ultimately, as you grow the system, you can grow it one unit at a time without reaching restrictions, and you're not going to ever be punished for growing, and you never have to really replace core technology. So that's the first thing. And then beyond that, as we look to build more complex systems, particularly for broadcasters, then you're able to build in more resilience, and you're able to ensure that you're delivering the high performance that you looked at, especially if we talk about post-production, for example, where there's huge demands on the video. We've been able to scale up the delivery of video across IP in line with that, particularly with the ADA 4000, which we've just rolled out a number of updates for 5K video, just for audio. So we're ultimately reusing that middle architecture to deliver everything, which we know is infinitely scalable.
So as we move to a new way of working, which is basically social distancing and remote working, it's all going to be the norm before long. How will IP KVM support business in the broadcast market?
So actually, KVM fundamentally has been about distancing the people from the computers, particularly with extenders and matrix solutions. We're actually now working with customers who are looking to distance people from people, or at least minimize the movement around. So perhaps the redesign of control rooms so that people don't have to sit within certain distance of each other, perhaps building specialist rooms with limited numbers of people in. And ultimately what we're seeing is then KVM being able to provide you with flexibility in how you design that. You don't have to physically move all the equipment into those rooms. You can move the people, move the KVM elements in and extend in. So we're working with a lot of customers in that area. And then of course, with the WAN-based and public internet-based range of products, we're enabling people to connect in from remote locations. So working where broadcasters are looking to have people working from their own home, or perhaps production hubs nearer, so they're not having to use transport to get to and from a centralized location. Or maybe, again, just expanding the capability inside the business for them to access the key machines they need when they need them, but without physically moving around the building. And so we can enable them to do that from a private office space or perhaps a dedicated workspace rather than all having to collate into a single room together.
That's interesting. I think we've got to think of this, actually, think outside the box and how this can really help us move forward in the broadcast sector. Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming by.
See you soon. Thanks very much.
And in the final workflow section, Move and Deliver, Virgin Media has turned to Globecast to provide a robust and flexible playout solution for its pop-up exercise channel, Get Moving. During these ongoing difficult times, online and TV-based exercise classes and workout shows have become extremely popular. Virgin Media initially launched the channel itself, but then decided that a more robust, flexible and fully managed playout solution was needed, and then they turned to Globecast.
Yeah, one thing I reckon people are going to really remember out these last couple of months is these exercise classes on YouTube and so on, particularly the Joe Wicks one, I know, which has been driving my wife and teachers across the country a little bit mad the last couple of months.
Yeah, I think he got himself a world record for that as well, as the most watched online fitness or something like that, 1 million plus views. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Amazing, and that was only in his second show. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see the second half of 2020 how whether the trend for the online shows continues.
Yep, absolutely.
And now we'd like to welcome David Geraldo from Harmonic to the studio. Welcome to KitPlus TV, David. We're going to start by talking about a customer of yours, Sportsmax, who are a leading sports channel in the Caribbean. Can you tell us the needs they had and the challenges that drove the use of Harmonic's VOS 360 as the streaming platform for their OTT project of delivering worldwide sports events to their audience?
Yes, thank you. So there were different needs and challenges that drove this use of Harmonic VOS 360, which is the world's most advanced media processing and delivery SaaS platform solution. So one was a very tight schedule to be on air, pretty much 1 month. So getting those channels up and running fast was critical for Sportsmax to stay competitive within their market, right? So a fast time to market solution was actually needed. And VOS 360, one of our cloud instances, can be deployed within 1 to 2 days. So that was a nice fit. Secondly, a very fragmented Caribbean market natural challenges were there, like one, viewers dispersed across many island countries, so global multi-city and reach was needed to serve every single customers across those countries. And VOS provides this turnkey end-to-end solution with an embedded multi-city end solution that leverages dynamic path selection that guarantees greater scalability with a maximum availability and the wider reach possible. One of the other, Caribbean market challenges was the broadband access is not always guaranteed. So this adaptive and resilient OTT delivery solution was needed, and whilst providing, best video quality to fulfill sports demands, right? Sports content demand. And, VOS 360 advanced AI-based encoding algorithms provides pristine video quality with super low bit rates for reduced delivery costs and maximizing quality of experience on any connected device. Also, they were looking for an open platform that can handle all the stages of the media processing through delivery that could be integrated within their existing ecosystem, front-end and back-end building blocks without lock-in. So VOS 360 provides this seamless integration with our either pre-integrated ecosystem technology partners like CMSs, DRMs, apps, and we provide a rich API with online documentation and examples to simplify integrations of new partners. Sportsmax was a combination of both. From the DRM perspective, we have some integration already done. From the front-end players, there was some integration that was done pretty quickly. And last but not least, they were looking for a very scalable and flexible solution, and VOS 360 foundational technology, which is based on containerized Docker microservices with Kubernetes orchestration, provide this greater scalability and elasticity. So I think those were pretty much the drivers that lead the use of VOS 360 as their preferred and ultimately the solution to serve their SportsMax content through OTT within the different Caribbean markets.
I'm sure sports are not the only application here, but mentioning sports is a big, it's a dynamic world at the moment. So I'd be interested in how VOS 360 handles the dynamic, sort of world we live in at the moment. Schedules, things can change at the last minute, and of course, unexpected peaks in audience levels.
Yes, Mac, that's a great question. So as I just mentioned, this public cloud elasticity and scalability allow us to accommodate unexpected peaks of traffic using our embedded orchestration that allows automatically scale up and down based on demand, based on the fly. And right. The other aspect to handle these unexpected peaks and very dynamic channel lineup schedule changes, it's our DevOps team, which is a highly skilled global network of professionals that is always available for SportsMax operations and engineering teams to guarantee that all the IT infrastructures, media processing, and delivery applications are fully functional. I think those two have been key to provide this flawless experience with all these unexpected peaks.
It's very insightful. It looks like a very useful tool. David, Geraldo, thank you very much for coming in and seeing us today and telling us all about it, and look forward to seeing you soon and hearing more about the products. Cheers.
Thank you.
So far, Alister has covered raw and gamma curves in his weekly Tech Insights, and this week we're getting to grip with production.
Thanks, John. Tripods. I think tripods are one area where a lot of us let ourselves down. We don't buy a tripod that's right for what we shoot. Now, one of the things you need to consider when buying a tripod is the payload. So what you need to establish is how heavy is your camera and all the accessories that are going to go on it, because you need to make sure that the payload of your tripod is sufficient to carry that weight, and I would double the weight of your kit. And the reason why you want to double it is the payload is typically based on having the camera right here, right on the top of the tripod here. But we all know that when you put your camera on it, your camera ends up here, and then you might have a monitor on top up here. And because of the way leverage works, when you tilt that forwards or backwards, this weight up here has a much greater effect than weight down here. And the other thing to consider is then the design and construction of the legs. It's really important that the legs have locks or latches that are really solid and really secure. You're putting a lot of money up here, and if one of those latches gives way, or perhaps gets caught on a piece of clothing because it sticks out too far, something like that, and the whole tripod falls over, well, that's either a very big insurance claim or a lot of money coming out of your pocket. Now, the next thing to think about is the head itself. And there are two different designs basically of professional tripod fluid head. So the fluid head is what damps the movement. This one here, this has a ring. It has, on this particular tripod, 5 different positions, and each position gives a certain amount of resistance. And what this ring is doing is it's actually engaging a different friction mechanism for each resistance amount, or in fact it's actually combining several together at the higher rates. So that's what we'd call a clutch pack design, where you have lots of different friction clutches that have a grease or oil in them, a fluid that damps the movement. The other type of design has a knob that you turn to turn up the friction, and you turn the knob back. It doesn't have any click stops or click positions, it's just a variable control. And they use a clutch that has a special sticky grease in between the clutch plates, and the more you tighten it up, the more the clutch operates, so the resistance increases. But the problem with that system is that if you operate it with that tension up very high for a long period of time, the grease actually gets squeezed out from between the clutch plates, and the tripod becomes a little bit less fluid, it becomes less smooth. Now, it's really worth spending a good amount of money on a tripod. A tripod like this, it's not a small investment, but a tripod like this will last you 10 years or more. People rush out all the time and they'll spend all their money on their camera. They'll buy the latest and greatest camera. They might spend £10,000, £20,000 on a camera, and then they've blown all their budget on the camera. They've got nothing left, and they spend £200, £300 on the cheapest tripod that they can find that has the right payload, but then they're disappointed. They have shots, they can't do smooth pans and tilts, and it's all a bit wobbly. So do spend the money. Get a decent tripod. If you can't afford a new one, do consider second-hand. Tripods don't really date in the way cameras and all the electronic technology does. Buy a decent, good quality tripod, and it will last you many, many years. So that's enough on tripods. Next week I'm going to look at ISO and gain. What are they? Is there a difference? And how should you use them? With that, back to the studio.
Thanks, Alistair. We're looking forward to next week already. We mention it every week, but we pay £100 for user reviews. Check out kitplus.com/reviews for more information. It's very simple. 3 to 10 minutes, send it in, and if we use it, we'll pay you.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll see you virtually next Tuesday with more workflow guests, Dick's interviews, industry news, and technical insights from Alistair.